Okay, we're testing 3.3 pounds or 3 pounds 5 ounces in the electric Arizona 1.5. I let it get up to 165, and I'm going to go ahead and drop the beans. Our basic models, while only having one Omron component, do have a mechanical for the hot air. Right now we're running this at 50% drum speed. Let me reset timer. And it should drop down. We're actually outside an ambient temperature of about 55 degrees, so it's gonna take a little longer than usual if it was in a shop. We're just doing a test here. And what we do with the electrics is we run it on the first roast at 100% until it gets up to a temperature we're comfortable with, and then we drop it back and then slowly increase the air volume. Right now, while it's been charged and dropping, we're not running any airflow at all. And sometimes when you drop it, the temperature from the beans, which were probably about at 75 degrees, will bring the temperature down about 200 degrees, sometimes a little less, depends on the situation. But it usually bottoms out within 2 minutes or less. First roast is always a little different. It looks like it bottomed out at 216.6 at just a minute, so that's pretty good. So we're going to watch the climb. I like for my climb to be about 8 minutes to 300, 9 minutes to 300. And then I'll pull back on the climb up the mountain, so to speak. So we'll follow that along and see how it goes. And eventually we'll add some airflow to make sure the smoke's getting out and the chaff is being pulled. We'll bump it up to maybe 20 or 30% in just a moment or so. This is a matte black Arizona 1.5 all-electric basic model. And with this package, we're giving you a free fidget with 2 thermocouples so you can do data logging on a computer. A lot of people will attach the fidget, perhaps using Velcro to back here. Some will attach it right here. Actually, right here works real good because it's real easy to feed the thermocouples up to get the bean and the hot air temperature. We're about 2.5 minutes into the roast, and I want to bump up the airflow to about 20%, maybe 30. A lot of times with these, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, photometers, I think that's pronounced wrong. You have to bump them up a little bit higher and then adjust them down. But usually from about 20% on, they kick in. And you'll notice as you increase it, I don't know if you can hear that with all the sound of the drum and the beans, but you'll see a significant climb. But we want it just right at about 30%. We want to make sure the temperature is still climbing on the beans. So if you bump it up too high, too fast on electric, you could get a drop off on the temperature, which you don't want. Another factor is when you do bump it up, hot air starts running through the drum, and so that should drive the temperature if you do it at the right setting. And just do it gently. Right now, 20-30% is plenty. We'll bump it up to 40-50% to pull out more chaff as it climbs a little higher. As you can see, the climb is pretty significant. We're at 273 degrees at just a little over 4 minutes. So I'm going to bump back my temperature, my fire regulation to 80%. Still keeping an eye on the temperature controller because we don't want to see that drop off. And you can still see that it's climbing at a pretty nice pace. So when we get up to around 300 or so, we'll start looking at the beans. Keep in mind, with all electric models, you have a perforated drum, so a little bit of debris and chaff will fall into the debris tray, which is inside this, which you can clean out after a roast. It just unscrews open and pops out. Just be careful, use mittens or some sort of glove, because the debris tray will be hot. Just wanted to show you, we don't have this hooked up permanent since we're just doing a test, but the smoke coming out of the chaff unit, which normally you'd have a pipe exhausting out of the building, just to give you an idea what the smoke level is at about close to 6.5 minutes and 293 degrees. So you're getting smoke, you're probably getting some chaff. In fact, now's a good time. If you look over here, you can see the slight yellowing of the beans, and it's a good time to start checking it. You can see there's a lot of chaff actually in this, so we're going to go ahead and bump up the airflow to 40%, keeping an eye on the temperature. We don't want that temperature to drop. You might have noticed the fan picked up because we bumped up the airflow. Yeah, this is the mechanical temperature or thermostat for the hot air. As you can see, it's at about 340 degrees. These aren't always 100% accurate. That's why the fidget will really come in handy. But we're at a bean temperature of 377, and should be going into first crack here in just a minute. We're at 380 degrees. We're going into first crack. A very nice, even roast brown. It's going into a slow first crack, but it's good for electric, especially. We still have probably a minute and a half to go on this first roast. As I mentioned, the ambient temperature, we're doing this outside, the ambient temperature is 55 degrees, which does have a significant impact on the roaster, especially on the first roast, but especially on electric machine too. We were in a shop where the airflow in the shop wasn't moving like it is outside here. You know, at 70 or 80 degrees, we would see a reduction in time and a faster temperature climb. Okay, this is about right where I want it. Don't know if you can see it. A nice full city here. Whoa! Very hot beans. So, oh yeah, just right. So I'm going to drop it. Turn on the cooling fan. Got the mixing arms on. Best to turn down your drum speed while you're dropping it so that the circular motion of the drum doesn't throw any beans out of the cooling tray. So we're going to let that close that up right away. We have a temperature of 360 degrees, so we can go ahead and drop a new roast, which we're doing. And we should see a significant difference in timing on this new roast now that the machine's fully heated. We'll move over there and look. But a real nice roast, even roast. Okay, we've gone 2 minutes in the cooling tray, so we're letting it all come out. It's a beautiful roast, perfectly even. Awesome, man. It's going to be some great coffee. And every bean is coming out of the cooling tray. Let me see if I can turn this down and get a decent shot where you can see what the color is on that. Don't know how well the lighting is, but you can see it's a perfectly even roast, which is awesome. I'm going to turn off my cooling mixer, cooling fan, and we're going to focus now on the second roast.